Welcome back to Miller Time Card Breaks. Here we go to continue with the 1988 Major League Baseball score cards. We have a box going here. 1988, which was how many years ago? We start off with John Kruk. This card is in pretty decent shape. Tiny bit off on the centering, but we're happy with a John Kruk card to get us started. Lou Whitaker, Larry Sheets. Gotta like the different colors here, the blues and the purples. Bobby Bonilla card. Also the centering a little off. They're doing trivia. This trivia is from July 8th, 1941. Do you remember? I don't know. People from 1941 right now would be about, I'd say, 85 years old. So if you want to head over and ask your grandparents what's going on, or maybe they're your great-grandparents, we could get some answers on whether they remember. Tommy John, is that where the Tommy John surgery comes from? I don't know. It's something to look up. Bruce Hurst, I remember him playing for the Red Sox back in the day, and that's a pretty good card, but not as good or is worth as much money as a Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn card. Beautiful card, number 385 out of 600, out of 660 cards. This guy was, so solid. Looks like his rookie year was 82. One of the premier players in baseball. And that is a good-looking Tony Gwynn card. Dan Petrie, Charlie Kerfeld, Kevin Mitchell. This guy could also shellac the ball for the Giants here. He hit 22 home runs in 87. But he was traded around a lot at the beginning of his career. You see Mets, then he went back down to the minors, then back up to the Mets, then he was with the Padres, and then over to the Giants all in his first couple of years. But solid baller. Kevin Mitchell, Rick Manning, Ivan Calderon, another card with great centering, actually. And we're looking at, maybe his second year in baseball. Well, maybe he spent a couple years with the Mariners, and White Sox, was sent back down and came back up to the White Sox, and that's where you see him, and most people remember him from. Left fielder, Keith Atherton from the Twins. All right, let's do another pack. We'd like to see some Cal Ripkens. Dave Schmidt. Barfield. Ozzie Smith is a great card. And actually, that's a pretty good looking one. Little tiny bit off on the centering, but very good looking. Roger McDowell from the Mets. Quinones. Great moments in baseball, September 1924. All right, do you remember? I don't think anyone's alive from that one, unfortunately. Tracy Jones, Martinez, Mike Scott from the Astros. The Doc, Dwight Gooden. There we go. I like that Doc card. Dwight Gooden. His poise and maturity on the mound. Make one forget, he was only 22 in 1987. And pitching in the majors for his fourth year. Although he missed the first 2 months of the season, he had one of the best records in baseball and one of the game's most dominant players. He started off magnificently in 87 with a 5-1 mark, a 2.12 ERA, and 43 strikeouts. In June, his first month back, even with his late start, it was the fourth talk of yet another Cy Young Award. He was only 19 when he set the rookie strikeout record, breaking the 29-year-old mark by 31 strikeouts and led the majors in '84 on his way to the NL Rookie of the Year honors. The next year, he was nearly unbeatable. Dwight became one of the youngest ever to win the Cy Young Award as he topped the majors in wins, ERA the lowest in 17 years, and strikeouts, only the 7th to accomplish that feat. Furthermore, he was the youngest ever to win 20 games, including 14 in a row, led the NL in complete games. In '86, Dwight struck out at least 200 batters for the 3rd straight season he had been in the majors. I'd say pretty incredible. And that includes taking them all the way to the World Series against the Red Sox. Dave Clark, Ron Gant, and a Kirby Puckett highlights card. A couple rookie. Ron Gant goes on to play very good baseball. And we all know Kirby Puckett. Kirby Puckett gets 10 hits in 2 straight games. He was sizzling. That is pretty incredible. August 29th and August 30th. First game against the Brewers, he was 4 for 5 with 2 home runs. In the second against the Brewers, 6 straight hits, including 2 more homers and 4 RBIs. Showing the versatility of the ballplayer, Kirby also robbed Robin Yount of a grand slam home run with a spectacular leaping catch high above the center field wall the same day. That's pretty awesome. Go Kirby. Let's see what we got next. We begin with Mike Witt, Eric Bell, Buddy Bell, Brantley, Matt Williams, Brett Butler. Do you remember? August 27th, '82. Well, at least I was alive for this one. In 1980, in his first season in the major leagues, Rickey Henderson, then of the Oakland Athletics, stole 100 bases to break Ty Cobb's 65-year-old AL record. In '82, Rickey stole 4 bases on May 30th to lift his season total to 49, a pace that would eclipse his old mark on June 13th against the Blue Jays. He stole 4 bases again, and by month's end had 73. His 24 steals in July zoomed his total to 99. On August 4th, Rickey broke his AL record with stolen base number 101. He tied Lou Brock's 74 major league mark of 118 on August 25th, and the next day stole 4 bases against the Brewers for a major league record 122. Bruises from his head-first slide slowed him down. The last 5 weeks of the season, he only had 8 more stolen bases in his last 22 games. Rickey's final stolen base count for 1982 was a whopping 130. Wow. Wow. That man could steal bases like no other. Cecil Fielder. Cecil Fielder. This guy got a lot of home runs. He played. He when he got sent down to the minors, he was with the Blue Jays, so he went to Syracuse. When I was up there in college, we went to a couple of the Blue Jays minor league games. He was drafted in '82. Played AAA International Leagues, 3rd in RBIs in '85 when the Blue Jays brought him up to the majors for the first time. All right. Interesting. Steve Henderson, Charlie Morn, Ed Hearn, Jim Wallander, and Dave LaPont. Let's breeze through a couple more of these packs. I'm pulling out about 5 of them. Here we go. Pick up the pace, right? Let's see what we got. Ooh, Alan Trammell. Herbeck. Henke. There we go. There's a hit. Bo Jackson, a little bit off center, but Bo Jackson, nonetheless, even at a 9, probably still valuable. Mike Kirkhill. Great moments, October 5th, 85. Phil Niekro with the Yankees. John Moses, Bill Schroeder, Paul Noce, Eric Show, Steve Trout, the Yanks. Youngblood. Who remembers that hockey movie, Youngblood? Hard hitting. John Davis, rookie. Kevin Romine, rookie for the Sox. And Steve Bedrosian for the 87 highlights card. Phillies hard throwing short reliever broke Sparky Lyle's 14-year-old record for consecutive saves. Streak that started May 25th. He recorded his 8th save of the season on June 9th. He tied the NL mark with 8 saves and 8 appearances. 6 days later, broke the NL record with his 9th save in a row as he pitched the 9th inning of a 3-2 win over the Cubs. He got his 11th save June 28th. Historic 12th when he pitched the last 2 innings of a 6-5 victory over the Pirates in the first game of a doubleheader. 13 saves in a row on June 30th. Had quite a season, 87, led all major league relievers with 40 saves, became only the 5th pitcher ever to reach 40. Bruce Sutter, Dan Quisenberry, Jeff Reardon, and Dave Righetti were the others. And I bet we might see a Righetti and a Reardon in these packs. They seem to come up quite often. Polonia, Steve, Perry, not Michael Jackson, Mike Jackson. Do you remember Ebbets Field, 1924? Do you? Obkerfell, Sid Bream. Oh, Sid Bream, I was going to talk about you, but now we've got Barry Bonds with a actually fairly well-centered card. It's looking pretty good. Barry Bonds hit 25 home runs in 87. He's a future star ever since he was hitting .347 with 45 homers and 175 RBIs at Arizona State, where he was an all Pac-10 pick 3 times. In 85, a first-round draft pick. Wow. Gotta love Barry. Card number 265. Followed by Keith Hernandez, who honestly I think got more famous for being involved in the Seinfeld series than maybe he was when he was with the Mets. But man, this guy was a hitter, you know, averaging at least over 10, 11, 12, 15, 18 home runs per year since back in 1977. So, you know, for 10 years, basically, he was hitting over 11, 12 home runs, and was the co-MVP in 1979, won the batting title, 10 consecutive Gold Gloves. Keith Hernandez. Glenn Wilson. Reggie Jackson, throwback card to 1976. That's a great one. Reggie Jackson, 1976. Oh, there's a lot going on here. We're not going to read this. It's card 2 of a 5-card series, and it is actually the second card of the 5-card series that we've pulled out of these packs. Rick Ruschel, Kurt Manwaring with the rookie prospect card, Dave Clark, and Ron Gant with the rookie prospect card. That was great to get a Barry Bonds and the Reggie. Oh, Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs, one of the best third basemen ever. There he is. Wade, a tireless worker, premier contact hitter. This card is, the first card in the pack. It's got a little bit of damage to the top. Eddie Murray, I would say almost the same related to that card. BJ Surhoff. I mean, these guys were awesome hitters. Lance Parrish, Bobby Witt. Great moments in baseball. September 11th, 85. In front of a Barry Bonds card. It's talking about Pete Rose batting left-handed, crouched at the plate in Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium in one of the first inning. Faced the Padre pitcher Eric Show. It was September 11th, 85. And Pete was tied with Ty Cobb for the most lifetime hits in Major League history. The count went to 2-1. Show threw a slider down and in. Pete swung hard and lined the ball into left center field. It was 8:01 Eastern Time, and Pete Rose had just made baseball history with hit number 4,192, breaking Cobb's long-standing 57-year-old record. With tears in his eyes, Pete hugged his son, Petey, as his teammates mobbed him. The game was held up for 7 minutes by a standing ovation from the packed stands. The long countdown, which started at the beginning of the season with Pete 95 hits shy of Cobb's mark, was at last over. And I was in New York for the fateful September 11th, so we're not going to talk about that. But there's Barry Bonds in what looks like in my opinion, I don't work for PSA, but that looks like a perfect 10 to me. Ted Higuera, Ted Simmons, Jose Rijo, Jeff Reed, Bill Madlock, Glenn Davis, Michael Cross, Gullickson, Fernando Valenzuela for the Dodgers. That guy with throwing heaters for the Dodgers year after year, barely eclipsing the 3 on the ERAs. And really, like, from who's coming out of Mexico and, from a Cy Young Rookie of the Year in the same season, only pitcher in 1981 to win both of those, pitched over 225 innings in 87 for the 6th season in a row, won his 100th career game early in the year. I mean, this guy was awesome for the Dodgers. And Chili Davis for the Giants. Yet another guy who could just crack the bat. 24 home runs in 87, 21 in 84, 19 in 82. Pretty amazing hitting by Chili Davis. So Barry Bonds card come out twice in a couple packs. That's pretty awesome. John Cerruti, pitcher. We got the Bo Jackson. It was a little bit, damaged on the top. Wally Joyner. There's Wally Joyner. He looks young there. Couple years with the Angels at that time. Steve Bedrosian, the relief pitcher. Greg Harris. Do you remember April 18th, 1987 at Three Rivers Stadium when Mike Schmidt hit his 500th home run? In 1987, only 13 players in history had ever reached that lofty plateau, with Reggie Jackson the last in 1984. Mike averaged 36 homers a year in his 14 full seasons and led the NL with a record 8 times, finished the 86 season with 495 lifetime homers. He whacked his 499th on April 17th, was hitless his first 4 times at bat the next day against the Pirates at Three Rivers Stadium. 2 outs in the 9th inning. Phillies losing 6-5. Schmidt faced right-hander Don Robinson, the 2 men on. He took first 3 pitches low for balls. Robinson throws a fastball right down the middle. Schmidt swings hard, hits it over the left field wall for a home run number 500. And most importantly to Schmidt, it won the game for the Phillies 8-6. That was a pretty good one. 1987. Billy Joe Robideau. Oral Hershiser. The Dodgers pitching, those starting pitchers, pretty amazing, right? Frank Viola, rookie prospect Pete Stanisek, Darryl Akerfeld. Ooh, rookie sluggers. Look at this card. Mark McGwire and Matt Noakes. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So we got 2 of these kind of cards. We got the super shortstops with Fernandez, Ripken Jr., and Alan Trammell. So we got Ripken and Trammell on that card. We got McGwire and Noakes on this one. They're both a little off-center, as you can see, but nonetheless, unique cards that are pretty amazing. McGuire. We got Ivan Calderon on the back here. That's pretty cool. All right, let's turn it around. Bob Boone, Plessic, Teufel, Browning. You remember Yankee Stadium, September 30th, 84? It's a Don Mattingly story. Johnny Ray, Willie Randolph, Schofield, Thurmond, Danny Jackson, Krim, Clear, Farr, Tunnel, Manning. All right. A couple more to go. You know, there's 17 cards and the Magic Motion card within these packs, these score packs. So there are a couple extras than, you know, we're normally used to seeing. Just trying to pull out the, there we go. Great Moments in Baseball, June 29th, 87. Who's it related to? Steve Bedrosian. Okay. Mark Lanks, Steve Sachs, Sutcliffe, Oster, Ganter, Crawford, Wiggins, Moses, Nixon, Rupert Jones, Hawkins, Cal Ripken. There we go. Yeah, Cal. There's a Cal Ripken, shortstop. Gerald Young, Dave Stewart, great pitcher for the A's. Ed Hearn, Walwander, Dave Point. So that was a nice hit on the Cal Ripken. Definitely not perfectly centered like that Barry Bonds looked, but pretty great card nonetheless. Alan Trammell, Herbeck. Those guys seem to come up right after each other. And Henke, again and again. Do you remember May 30th, 1937? I do not. Larry, Brower, Sumner, Collins, Clemens, Davis, Reed, Ruffin, Tibbs, Hillegas, Pete, Stanisiak, rookie. I'd like to get like a Nolan Ryan. Where's Nolan? Maybe another Bo Jackson would be nice. A little better centering, you know? Something we could send in to PSA. Pedro Guerrero. George Brett. Again, the centering's off. I mean, you're going to find that. We all know that about these wax packs. But they are certainly fun to open. You get all these huge stars. And if you're doing it with your kid, and you get to tell stories like, I was at that game when that happened. And like, you see a Bill Buckner card, 88. Gee, what's the story with that guy? Why did he get traded from the Red Sox? Well, look at 86. I mean, God, the guy was playing really well. Unfortunately, you know, his career takes a dip. He became blamed for the loss to, you know, overall to the Yankees. I'm not the Yankees, to the Mets in the World Series. Despite, and, you know, I think a lot of people might want to put the blame on Bob Stanley, but somehow people don't remember that. He takes the brunt of the attack for the loss. Just reason I'm pausing here on this Bilecki card is couple printing errors right there. Those come up quite a bit in the 80s and often make cards a little more valuable. So just a little nugget of information right there. I went to school with a guy named Chris Bosio in Framingham. Fred Lynn, Fred Lynn for the Orioles. I got his autograph when I was at a game. I think I was around 8 years old. We were sitting, my grandfather had seats second row. Oh, speaking of Bob Stanley, I mean, that's the guy who probably should have been blamed for that loss to the Mets in the World Series. But back to that, I got Fred Lynn and Larry Sheets to both sign a baseball for me. We were in the second row and got there really early that day. Got to see them warm up, and we were by the opposing dugout. Oh, there's another one of those Reggie Jackson cards. Card number 1 of the 5-card series. It'd be cool if we could build that whole set. Jody Reed, prospect, and Chris Gwynn, the younger brother of Tony Gwynn, rookie card. And, you know, Ripken did not sign autographs that day, I recall. I mean, granted, I was about 8 years old, but those other guys came over, and they were pretty cool with the Boston fans. Gosh, right around this time. I mean, yeah, maybe 2 years earlier. There's Clemens. Rocket Roger Clemens, number 21. Bob Brentley, Robbie Thompson. October 1st, 32. Greg Brock, Jimmy Jones, Johnny Ray. Barry Lyons. He played well with the Mets. Mike Young, Kunkel. Roenick, Deadman. Oh, Reggie. That is a classic Reggie Jackson if I've ever seen. I know it's a throwback card, but that's like card number 3 out of 5. I mean, as I remember Reggie Jackson, that is the picture in my mind in the Yankees uniform. Rob Ducey, rookie. Gary Thurman, rookie. Ooh, speed and power. Eric Davis and Tim Raines. There we go. Also, you see that little, that's a mistake in their printing. Little error. Eric and Tim, tremendous speed on the bases, among the best in baseball at scoring runs. Speed and power. It's a long video. I hope, I mean, if you're into the 80s baseball, there's Bill Ripken, Cal Ripken Jr.'s brother. Not the home run hitter like his brother was. Mike Easler. Wonder if he's related to, I think, Tony Easler? Or am I confusing my sports? But Greg Matthews, Greg Brock, Jimmy Jones, Domingo Ramos, Durham, Sean Dustin, Jeff Robinson, Craig Lefferts. You know, often these guys, I'm saying their names for the first time in 25, well, maybe 35, 40 some odd years. I recently had a birthday. So, you know, giving away how old I am, 48. I'm a 70s baby. There's Robin Yount, who got robbed in that story they told. Oh, Jose Uribe. Gene Larkin. You know, like these names, these are names we grew up with. I remember going through the baseball cards. There was a friend of mine, a shout out to Glenn Kramer, also lived on Angelica Drive in Framingham, Mass. And man, his parents got him like all the sets, and me and him and this guy Danny Fishman, we would go up there, and just like look at cards all day, all afternoon long. And then go out and shoot some hoops in the backyard, and I mean, in the front, and go run into the woods in the backyard, and those were the days, before there was basically any electronics. I mean, we're talking maybe Atari had come out, not even Nintendo yet, I don't think. So, I mean, not when we were super into cards. Dave Winfield, Bergman, Jefferson. Great moments in baseball. April 29th, 86. Fenway Park, chilly April night. Roger Clemens, the big right-hander, goes for his 4th straight win of the season against the Mariners. Blazing fastball, strikes out the side in the 1st inning, gets 3 more Ks in the 2nd and 3rd, and struck out the side again in the 4th. All 3 batters go called strikes in the 5th. The first 2 men in the 6th are struck out. The 8 Ks in a row equaled an AL record. Roger then struck out 2 men apiece in the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings to register 18 for the game. When Spike Owens struck out swinging to start the 9th, Roger had equaled the major league mark of 19. Phil Bradley then takes 2 balls and 3 straight strikes. Roger now stands all alone in the record book with 20 strikeouts in a 9-inning game. I've got a good Roger Clemens story. But we are so deep into this video that I'm going to hold that Roger Clemens story for the rest of this box when we finish it tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure, and we'll talk to you soon.